a man at war, and I am fighting for all of the broken people, all of the people thrown overboard. They always try to shame us, but they don't speak the language. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. Fire was set in the dark. It's time that you know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. It doesn't matter if the world is gone mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. The sky is falling and the world is gone mad, and we sing our songs and we just hold on, yeah. So if you're running, stop running. One life, one chance, start living. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. They say that I'm reckless, because I'm relentless. They spit on my face and crush on my name and taking my life in vengeance. Yeah, you could try and blame us and try and take what's sacred, but we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. Fire was set in the dark. It's time that you know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. It doesn't matter if the world is gone mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. The sky is falling and the world is gone mad, and we sing our songs and we just hold on, yeah. So if you're running, stop running. One life, one chance, start living. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Somebody sound the alarm. It's time that you know. It doesn't matter if the world is gone mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. We were born for greatness. No, we're not nameless, we're not faceless, we were born for greatness. Red alert, drum, shine a light down. On the front lines, on my mind now. Fighting my time on the high ground. Blinded, but I'm still alive, shout, oh. They said we're lucky to have got this far, and that is not worth fighting
The Rock is cooking.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. You got your rules in your religion, all designed to keep you safe. But when rules start getting broken, you start questioning your faith. I have a voice that is my savior, hates to love and loves to hate. I have a voice that has the knowledge and the power to your fate.
We would like to start this episode with a 10-bell salute marking the passing of former WWE Champion, Intercontinental Champion and Tag Team Champion Pedro Morales. So, welcome to a late edition of the WWE Wrestling Talk Show with Lisa Rock Jones and
John Brandon. And again, we apologise for the slightly late Elimination Chamber show due to illness.
yes, the road to WrestleMania is always a bumpy one, and for 18 superstars, that meant being locked inside the Elimination Chamber.
Which underwent a massive new look.
So we had 7 matches on this card, which is slightly less than what they normally do, one of which of these took place on the pre-show, but in no particular order. The matches were Ronda Rousey defending the Raw Women's Championship against leader of the Riot Squad, Ruby Riott.
Yeah, that's one.
The Miz and Shane McMahon defending the SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Usos.
Yeah.
Akira Tozawa challenging Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin taking on Braun Strowman for the 18th time.
What feels like the 18th, 19th time.
Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley taking on Finn Balor in a handicap match for the Intercontinental Championship.
We'll get on to the stipulations of that very shortly.
And then, of course, there's the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. One for the WWE Championship, which was originally scheduled to be Daniel Bryan defending against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Mustafa Ali, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. But however, due to, in part, Randy Orton, Mustafa Ali has suffered various injuries and was pulled out of the match to be replaced by Kofi Kingston.
And we'll get on to Kofi Kingston's performance very shortly.
And then, for only the second time in history, there was a tag team elimination chamber match that would crown the first ever women's tag team champions, featuring the Iconics,
from SmackDown Live,
Billy Kay and Peyton Ross, the Riot Squad members of Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan,
from Monday Night Raw,
Nia Jax and Tamina,
also from Monday Night Raw,
the weird team of Carmella and Naomi,
from SmackDown Live,
Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville,
from SmackDown Live also,
and the Boss and Hug connection of Sasha Banks and Bayley.
from Monday Night Raw.
So let's go through this. On the pre-show, as you could probably guess, Buddy Murphy defended the Cruiserweight Championship against Akira Tozawa. Now, for once, I would like to see that title defended on the main show.
Please, make it happen.
And there's no surprise here that the winner of the match, and still Cruiserweight Champion, is Buddy Murphy.
Not a surprise there.
The main card opened up with the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match that would crown the Women's Tag Team Champions. Now, due to losing triple threat tag team matches on Raw and SmackDown, starting this match in the Raw side would be Sasha Banks and Bayley, and on the SmackDown side was Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
So, who was the first team to enter this match?
The second team third team, I should say, to enter the match was the Riot Squad.
Members of Liv Morgan and Sarah Rowe, also known as Sarah Logan.
The fourth team to enter the match were the Iconics.
On SmackDown Live.
The fifth team were Carmella and Naomi, and the final team to be entered were Nia Jax and Tamina.
So let's go through order of elimination, quick style.
So first to be eliminated, well, first of all, the rules are slightly different here.
Oh yes, very different.
In this match, once one member of a team is made to pin or submit, the whole team is out of the match.
Correct.
So first to go was the team of Carmella and Naomi. After being eliminated by both members of the Iconics in a very clever move, once Naomi had hit the rear view on Mandy Rose, she was caught in a almost double roll-up,
Something like that.
which caused them to be eliminated.
So, the next team to be eliminated were...
Well, next to go, after running for their lives from the rest of the teams, to be specific, Nia Jax and Tamina, were the Iconics, when both Billy Kay and Peyton Royce were pinned after Stereo Samoan drops.
Yes, they even tried hiding inside an elimination chamber pod, but that didn't work.
No. Just like climbing to the top of a pod didn't work slightly later in the match.
Yes, the next team to be eliminated were...
The next team to go were the Riot Squad, when they were both pinned following a Superfly splash from Tamina.
And then leaving the final two teams...
Three.
The final three were...
Final three teams to Nia Jax and Tamina, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and Bayley and Sasha Banks. Now, Tamina and Nia Jax were dominating this until Nia Jax made the mistake of charging at Bayley, only for her to move out of the way and Nia Jax to go straight through the pod.
And again, Nia Jax lived up to her new nickname at the moment.
That would cause Tamina to be left on her own, which would then be ganged up on by the rest of the women in the match, and would be pinned by the combination of Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville following Bayley's Macho Man elbow.
So the final two teams in the ring
were the same two teams that started the match, in Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and Bayley and Sasha Banks. And after a fair bit of action, we saw some near falls from both sides.
Yeah.
It was a mistake of Sonya Deville going for a spear and accidentally hitting her own partner. That would cause Sonya Deville to be caught in a modified version of the bank statement, to tap out and to crown the first ever women's tag team champions as Sasha Banks and Bayley.
And there's definitely a winner, some winners that people definitely saw coming.
Yes, this was a very predictable match, because when you look at Sasha Banks and Bayley, their story goes all the way back to NXT 2015. From feuding together to both coming up to the main roster to having some battles with each other, teasing a feud, to getting back together. I mean, the whole story of those two has led this to be a very predictable moment, but I don't think it could have gone to the better team.
True.
Now, sticking to the theme of tag team titles, the second match was for the SmackDown tag team titles.
Oh, yes, and the very best team is Shane McMahon and The Miz defended their SmackDown tag team titles against the Usos.
Yes, we'll get onto that in a little bit later. But this was almost what you would expect from Shane McMahon and The Miz.
Yeah.
So Shane McMahon had his usual high spots with his elbow through a table and everything else. However, it ended when The Miz hit a skull-crushing finale, only to be caught in a slight roll-up whilst going for the cover to make the Usos 4-time, I believe it is, SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
But six times overall.
Now, the surprising factor of this is the fact that a few days before this, Jimmy Uso had got himself arrested due to squaring up to a police officer when he and Naomi were pulled over. So the moral of the story here, kids, is that get yourself arrested, and you'll be rewarded for it.
Pretty much. But we don't recommend that you actually go and do it.
Okay, next we go we half stick to the tag team theme, but half not.
In reason being,
Well, the night after the Royal Rumble, Bobby Lashley had a bit of a run-in with Finn Balor.
oh, of course he did.
Then over the past couple of weeks, they've had run-ins. Leo Rush was defeated by Finn Balor the week previously on Raw to set up a handicap match for the Intercontinental Championship, in which Finn Balor could pin Bobby Lashley or Leo Rush to win the championship.
So, this match, well, it was kind of good, but also kind of rewarding for one individual.
It was a bit of a weird match. I don't quite think that Bobby Lashley's style is the best suited to have a good match with Finn Balor. However, Leo Rush by himself probably could.
Yeah, but overall, there was a winner.
Yes, when after not managing to take advantage of dividing the ring up, Finn Balor was able to hit the coup de grace on Leo Rush and pin him to become Intercontinental Champion. Now, this did not leave Bobby Lashley in a very good mood.
No, Bobby Lashley at the end of the match even attacked Leo Rush after the match, blaming him for him losing the IC title.
However, that would not be the last we would see of Bobby Lashley this night.
Oh, no, we'll go on to that bit later on.
Next, in a match which we are not going to spend too much time on, and from that's for certain reasons, Ronda Rousey defended the Raw Women's Championship against Ruby Riott.
Now, the win of the match in about, well, how quick should we say this?
Less than 2 minutes.
Something like that.
It was more or less a case of bell run, armbar, thank you very much.
But it was also Ronda Rousey has retained her Raw Women's title in about record time, but her night wasn't over there.
Yes, because her challenger, and I say that term very loosely, Charlotte for WrestleMania, was at ringside. They had to stare down after this match. And then the person who was supposed to be the challenger comes hobbling out of the crowd, that being Becky Lynch, who was currently suspended on 60 days by Vince McMahon.
Now, she hobbled into the ring.
On crutches.
And then with one of the crutches, she attacked Charlotte Flair with it.
And then when Ronda Rousey made the slight mistake of turning her back on Becky Lynch, she also got an ass kicking.
So it just goes to prove, don't trust crutches.
Yeah, I am going to go on a slight little rant here. People are up in arms the fact that Charlotte is in this match and Becky is not. Becky will be in this match. The plan for the past couple of months has been to do this as a triple threat match. For pretty much an entire year from last year's WrestleMania, you could tell the initial plan was to do Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte at WrestleMania. However, due to the events leading up to Survivor Series, featuring a certain nocturnal face by Nia Jax to Becky Lynch, and to how over Becky Lynch has gotten, she has also come into this match to make it a triple threat. However, the fans just cannot seem to get it through their head that WWE is playing them here.
Really?
And if this was Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch, which is what people want, then the crowd would boo the shit out of Ronda Rousey, like they do Roman Reigns. And that
Very
is
true.
something. And
Showing signs of that through various episodes of SmackDown on Monday Night Raw lately.
And that is something that WWE does not want to do. So, by having Charlotte inserted into this match, not just inserted, but inserted as a heel, and by Vince McMahon himself, that will take most of, if not all, of the heat off of Ronda Rousey.
Absolutely.
There is literally no difference here between what happened 15 years ago at Madison Square Garden when Chris Benoit won the Royal Rumble match and would take on Triple H and Shawn Michaels in a triple threat match. I see this as Charlotte is basically taking the role of Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I can much I see that as well.
Except Shawn Michaels was never booed.
No, he never was.
And the fact that this is likely going to be the main event match of WrestleMania this year.
Yep, I can probably see that.
So Becky Lynch should walk out of this. This should be a similar moment to WrestleMania 20 and 30 with Daniel Bryan and Chris Benoit walking out as champions. Anyway, little rant over.
Ryan, it definitely felt like a run, that's for sure.
Anyway, I'm not going to bother with too much time on the next match. Braun Strowman took on Baron Corbin for the 18th billionth time.
But Baron Corbin would get some assistance from two other superstars.
Yes, this was a no disqualification match. So, we kind of suspected that Drew McIntyre would factor into this somehow.
And they did.
Now, the one thing I was expecting is for Drew McIntyre to come out, and then Kurt Angle to come out, and that it would be basically two people fighting on the outside and two people fighting in the ring. However, a still very angry Bobby Lashley would also make an appearance, turn this into a 3-on-1 situation.
Of course.
And they would basically shield triple power bomb Braun Strowman through a table,
Right.
and pick up the victory. Now, this is the same Braun Strowman who, a couple of months ago, if not a year ago, people wanted to see as Universal Champion. That ain't happening anytime soon now.
Absolutely not. Which absolutely starting to say that, but it seems to be that way.
So now we go to the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match.
Oh, yeah, where Danny Bryan defends the WWE Championship.
Yes, the Wood Championship, or the Vegan Championship, whatever you want to call it. Because Eric Rowan, or Rowan, whatever you want to call him these days, was sent back to the locker room after Daniel Bryan made his entrance. So he would not play a factor into this. And as we said, this would be Daniel Bryan defending against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, and Samoa Joe. Now, in an unusual move, after winning a gauntlet match on SmackDown with an RKO out of nowhere on AJ Styles, Randy Orton had earned the right to enter the chamber last.
I did.
The chamber match started with Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe, however, would be the first person eliminated from a phenomenal forearm by AJ Styles.
Next to be eliminated was
Jeff Hardy from a running knee by Daniel Bryan.
next to be eliminated
would be AJ Styles from an RKO.
and then I would be eliminated by Kofi Kingston with a chocolate paradise.
Yes, that would leave Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan. So,
On the crowd at this point, oh wow.
yes, I mean, here, you were almost convinced at points in this match that Kofi Kingston would walk out as champion. However, there was one mistake made.
Kofi did do.
Kofi Kingston went for a splash leap type thing from the top of the pod. I think it was the top of the pod, only for Daniel Bryan to move, and then hit him with a running knee to remain WWE champion. However, that would not last, or well, it will last at least for a few weeks, because on SmackDown this past week, Kofi Kingston pinned Daniel Bryan in a 6-man tag team match to earn a one-on-one WWE Championship match in 2 weeks at Fastlane.
So that about does it for our Elimination Chamber show, pre and post.
Yes, so that's the Elimination Chamber done. Next stop, all stop on the road to WrestleMania as we get aboard the Fastlane.
So join us then for our Fastlane pre-show. So until then, you've been
Lisa Rock Jones, and he's been
Sean Randy Smith, and we will see you for our Fastlane.